That's right. What is he? That's right. Come on, y'all. How good, so good, yeah. That's right. That's right. That's right. Hit it. How good, so good, yeah. Hey. Hey. How good, so good, yeah. That's right. That's right. Yes. That's right. If you bless the Lord at all times, let's give a praise in this building. Let's lift up the Most High in this building. That's it. All right now.
All right. So grateful, yes. I am grateful, yes I am. Yeah. about your works because I'm grateful for just to praise you, Lord, flowing from my heart. My heart are the issues of my heart. My heart is gratefulness. Hey, yeah, yeah. So grateful. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So grateful, so grateful. I am grateful for that you have done. I am. Oh, victories we won. I could go and on about your works because I'm grateful to praise you, Lord, flowing from my heart. My heart are the issues of my heart. My heart is gratefulness. So grateful. Yeah, yeah. Grateful, grateful. Yes, I am. I am so grateful. Gratefulness, yes, it's flowing from my heart. Grateful for everything you've done, Lord. Yes, I am grateful, and it's flowing, yeah. Grateful, grateful. I am so grateful. Yes, I am, Lord, for everything you've done. Gratefulness, yeah, yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah. Gratefulness is flowing from my heart. Grateful, grateful, gratefulness is flowing from my heart. Flowing from my heart are the issues of my heart. My heart flowing from my heart. My hearts are the issues of my heart. Is gratefulness. His gratefulness, His gratefulness.
That's it. That's right. That's right. Yes. That's it. Y'all know what time it is. That's right. Hit it. Gotta think about it, y'all. Every mountain. Praise the high God. Yes, sir. Yes, you did, yeah. 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 That's it. For what? That's it. For every mountain, for every trial, for every struggle, you brought me through. Praise a higher. All praises be to the Most High God, Ahia, in the name of his dear son Yeshua, on this Sabbath day, for every mountain. I don't think y'all heard me. For every trial, for every struggle, for years where we didn't know his name and now we know his name. For everything that we've been through, praise Ahia. Let's give the Most High some praise in the building because he's worthy. Let's give the Most High some praise so that the heavens can hear us. Oh, y'all could do better than that. Yeah, let's lift up the name of Ahia. Huh? Let's lift him up in the sanctuary. Let's give him praise. Huh? That's it. Because the Most High God have given us this truth, brothers and sisters. On this day of all, leading into the first day of summer. Right? Thank the Most High that he put us back on schedule. Huh? All praise be to the Most High, right? Listen, at this time, without further ado, we have a lesson by none other than our elder, Elder Rakar Shiar. Let's give him a wonderful, warm round of applause. And let's give it up for our other elder here in the building, Elder Shapat. What you got? Yes, sir.
Shalom, how y'all doing today? The Most High have blessed us with a beautiful, beautiful Sabbath. A new season. And boy, did the Most High put something in my mind to say today. First and foremost, I would like to give all praises to Yeshua through the Holy Spirit. Right? Let me slide over here. The Bible teaches us that the race is not to the swift. No, you good now. You can go over that side now. Oh, you further out. Hold on. Let me adjust this one moment. Can you help me out? All right, there's a lot I want to talk about today, so I'm going to jump right into it. All praises be to the Most High. Well, this is what we're going to talk about today, right? And you know we're going into what they call summer, right? We're going to commune today. It's what they call new moon, but the Bible states it's a what? A new month or new season. 4 of those per year. Now, what I'm going to talk about today will resonate through the Spirit. I hope you all can receive it in the Spirit. The Most High have blessed me to understand it today, because there's a lot going on. As you can see, there's a lot going on. When I say there's a lot going on, you see the political jockeying. Do not get caught up into the theater of what's going on either side when it comes to, I don't know what type of system they live in, But the last I checked, any time that any of us are convicted, we're hauled off to jail. That's the first conviction I ever seen where a guy had a speech today. So don't, yeah. You know, he was just talking about, he was reminiscing on old times in front of a microphone. What type of convictions they get? So don't get caught up into the political jockeying, because what's going on is really those that are in political positions are fighting for the few crumbs that are left amongst their circles. And that's what's really going on out there. Everything has become corporatized, and the politicians are losing their footing in the earth, and now they're fighting for whatever positions that are left on either side. So there is some infighting amongst them. And it's really coming down to who control the purse strings, the treasuries. But there's another narrative that no one isn't talking about. Either side are jockeying over which one of the two control and or destroy God's people. And what I wanted to talk about on this marvelous day, okay, this beautiful, beautiful day, I wanted to talk about not just a siege, but how we can get through this siege. Yes, there's a siege going on, but this is not quite like the one we experienced in 70 AD. Okay? It's a more, I would say, high-end psychological siege that leads to the same outcome. It's less barbaric, but yet they get their pound of flesh nonetheless. How do we get through? First and foremost, I would like to say, the Bible states, Christ stated that ye that endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. The race isn't to the swift. How many times you see people come in to the knowledge of the truth, all gung-ho, motivated. I'm in this to the end. That's what it means by the race is not to the swift. Initially, when one gets the word, it's joyous. Being able to see after living in the darkness for so long, we tend to celebrate that. But understand, it's the endurance. When it says the race is not to the swift, you see people motivated. Hey, elder, let me grab. I'm good. You know, it's fine. I know you want to help. Yeah, just do what you do. It's good. Right? I know you appreciating all that. And yes, sometimes I take the help or whatever the case is. But who can have that same motivation all the way until the promises are fulfilled, until we're standing in our kingdom led by our King? Who can have that same level of motivation? And I'm going to say this. If you were looking to someone else on the outside of us to give us that motivation, you're missing the target. If you're looking for anyone else to pull you through, now, of course, the strong bear the infirmities of the weak, but each man must pick up their own cross and follow. So you have to find a way to self-motivate yourself to serve the Most High. Outside of anyone else, regardless of what you might think about someone else, or whether or not someone disappointed you, or this person or that person, you have that motivation, that spark, that appreciation for the Most High that you receive first day is what drives you towards the kingdom. And that's what I wanted to say to the saints first. The race isn't to the swift. Let me drop this before I go into the lesson. The siege on Jerusalem. Elder Lawyer is not with us today. He's dealing with he's with a family member, but he's helping a family member, but he's with us in heart. Of course, I'm texting him back and forth. Send me this and send me that. I'm getting that together. And, you know, I can hear him text. Yes, sir. So he helped me out nonetheless. He's here with us. Elder Shapat. I'm so used to it. I know Lawyer somewhere cracking up right now. Right? Let's open up the Bible and let's talk about us first. Right? I'm going to go to the book of Proverbs, some wisdom scriptures for us. And today, our lesson is breaking down we're talking about the siege on Jerusalem. But we're not just going to talk, we're just going to touch on the old siege. It's time for us to recognize the siege we're under today. For us, Shapat, if you will, I need you to go real quick to Proverbs 6.
Yep.
And let's start at about the 16th verse.
Proverbs chapter 6, verse 16.
Now, this is what the Most High wants us to understand as saints. Right? There's certain things as individuals, us as the children of the Most High, certain things we love, and there's certain things we just cannot stand. Well, guess where some of those traits or attributes, if you will, come from? It comes from our Maker, our Father. There's certain things he loves, and there's certain things he just can't stand. Read the verse of the Lawyer. Shapat.
Proverbs chapter 6, verse 16.
Read it.
These 6 things doth the Most High hate.
These 6 things the Most High hates. And I'm starting with us. If the Most High, and he will, pull those through who are worthy, we have to understand what our part is in this and being worthy to be saved. Not just because we're the children of Israel. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go talk to the saints today. There's 6 things the Most High hates. Read.
Yea, 7 are an abomination unto him.
7 are an abomination unto him. So there's 7 altogether. So we have to understand and measure ourselves to what the Most High loves, but definitely avoid what he hates if we're going to make it through this siege. And Satan, through technology, have made it so convenient to do all the things the Most High said in the Word, I hate. Especially with the advent of the internet. Because the internet, yes, it's good. I found a lot of you teaching the Word on it. That part is good. But the spirit of vanity, has sucked souls all the way in to begin to indulge in certain spirits the Most High can't stand. What are those 7? Let's read it.
Verse 17.
Come on.
A proud look.
A proud look. Now, check out how the internet have made it so convenient to be proud, to show forth a lifestyle, to be seen by others as some level of success. Check out how the internet have made it so that everyone can fake it, knowing that we're struggling, knowing that we're hurting. But you can use the internet to show forth a lifestyle that you can only imagine and feel good enough simply because people think that's the way you're truly living. Vanity, a proud look. And the Bible states what? It talks about pride. Pride cometh before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. When it says a proud look, I need you to think about this real quick. If the Most High requires contrition, obedience, we have to understand the spirit of admitting and not be ashamed of the state we're currently under, regardless of what people think. If we're suffering, we're suffering. And we're supposed to what? We're supposed to feel that suffering, so to turn to God or a higher for the answers. But if you're suffering and you're operating as if before the world that you've actually succeeded, you have deceived yourself and cut yourself off from actually getting guided out of your current state. It was a time where we can privately feel our suffering without the world looking at it and use that as what? Use that as fuel to change our condition. But today, as long as people think you got it going on, there's no need for ambition, because there's a clear distraction to keep you away from what? The reality of what your true life is. And one thing about in the Bible, when it came to Lamentations, Jeremiah, and all that, you can say what you want about our people. When you read about these, we first admitted to ourselves the state we were currently under. And I believe the delusion that's going on in this earth with our people right now, and through that delusion, they're in for a rude awakening. The rude awakening comes when the reality ends, when your delusion ends, when everything shuts down, and at the end of it, you're living with the life you chose, but with no outlet, no internet, just the life every day you try to escape from through an alternate reality on the internet. But by that time, the siege will already be upon you. It'll be on your doorstep. One of these days, the internet and all this stuff is going to go out. The lights are going to go out. Everything is going to go out. And the reality of whether or not we prepared or not will be the reality. A proud look, what else?
A lying tongue.
A lying tongue. The world have made it so convenient to lie. without feeling any level of guilt or shame. And I see this all the time. I'm looking, I'm like, man, our people are suffering. Why do we portray ourselves online as if we've already succeeded or already have received kingdom? And we seek that for some level of validation. And we begin to lie to ourselves. A lying tongue, and folks, when I'm talking in generalities right now, because this is the world. It's not just what's going on with our people. This is the world. Read.
And hands that shed innocent blood.
Hands that shed innocent blood. Now, I know some people like to look at that or probably examine that and say, well, okay, it's talking about someone just brutally killing another person, like we see with the Palestinians and the war and all that over there, or what we've witnessed growing up, in our communities. But see, shedding innocent blood is not just through the hand that perpetrated the murder or crime. The shedding of innocent blood comes with what? It comes with sowing negative, expounding negative amongst other people, lying on people. Sometimes people get angry and they say things out of anger, and then through that agitation it causes conflict, and not realizing at the end of it someone is going to die. See, and that's what's going on. When I look online, it's just people instigating. It's like the devil is pulling the strings and instigations everywhere, and Satan is doing exactly what he planned. The total destruction of God's people and the end of communities as the world once knew them. Shedding innocent blood. Read.
And heart that deviseth wicked imaginations.
And a heart that deviseth wicked imaginations. You will sit in your mind and think in your mind, how can I possibly hurt a person to their core? Calculate and instigate conflict. That's the world we're in. Read that last piece again, Elder.
Verse 18. And heart that deviseth wicked imaginations.
And a heart that sit and calculate and devise wicked imaginations against another person. Or every time you think about a person, and this is where that spirit comes from, when you think about someone, it darkens your heart. You feel some level of vitriol against them. And in your mind, you think you're justified. There's always a reason. Because I was hurt, because I this, because I that. We always have that reason to allow that spirit to come in like Lucifer. If someone could have a conversation with that hurt angel today, he'll run off a long list of reasons why he's turning mankind against God. And with all his wisdom, it would seem logical. I was amongst the angels. I was great up there. I was singing my song, and he was jealous of me. The other angels understood that I didn't mean nothing by it. All of a sudden, he moves me into darkness and trapped me down here with you people and say that I must minister unto the image of God, who's man, an inferior creation. He allowed man to repent. But yet, I do one thing wrong, and I have no more access amongst the stones of fire. I was done wrong. See? A bunch of excuses. Instead of saying, you know what? I was wrong. I was out of order. I disobeyed the God of gods. And I'm bringing that into, there's always a justification to feel something dark in your heart against another person. Guess what? People will create a reason to hate another person. And any time, because guess what? None of us are above reproach or negative thoughts. None of us. We all have to go through those stages. But when the thoughts come, it's what you do with them. It's what you do with them. Like, Ahiah, Yeshaya, I don't like how I'm feeling right now about this person. I don't like it. There's certain things in my mind I don't want to think that negative about this person. But I just can't get over it. And you know what? Know what comes into my mind? Christ. The crucifix. The Most High was at war with us, and through Christ's sacrifice, it gave me another opportunity. So if he can give me an opportunity through these dark thoughts, if he can give me an opportunity when I wasn't worthy, why can't I give my brother and sister that same opportunity? Why should I feel that negative when I've done more negative against the throne, sinning in this world? As soon as I have those thoughts, I go into the bathroom, I say a Lord's Prayer, whatever the case is, I come back out, and you know what? I'm light. The Spirit passed me. I could have reacted, I could have said something in that moment, I could have done something in that moment. So when it comes down to sowing discord or vain imaginations and all that and calculating against your brother, you don't understand. We have to understand that something else is there. And why am I putting this out there before I go deep into this real quick? There's only a few people in this earth, brothers and sisters, who see the world as we see it. Who can see what's going on in the earth and not get caught up into it. To know exactly what's going on in the earth. And there's only a few of us in the earth like that. So it's upon us, the church, the brotherhood, it's upon every individual, every saint, to hold on to as many people who can see the world as we see it. We have to hold on to many of those as we can. It's going to get crazy out here. It's going to get crazy. And I'm going to go into it. Then that's why I want to go into the things the Most High hate first, so that we can at least check ourselves. So that it's not about what you feel about me or how I feel about you. So that we don't cross that line when it comes to our obedience and relationship with the Most High Himself. So regardless of what issues we might have, we're not going to cross the line with doing things the Most High hates. Now, He's telling you exactly, listen, He can work with many things, but these things we're breaking down right now, nah. There's no tolerance for the 7 things God hates. And it doesn't matter the reason one can concoct in their mind. I'm going to tell you, no matter how you try to concoct it in your mind or justify it, there's still no excuse for it. Next one, Shaphat.
Middle of verse 18.
Come on.
Feet that be swift in running to mischief.
There it is. Feet that be fast to run to mischief. If there's some conflict, rumor, if something going on, you'll be the first one in the melee. If there's something going on, what she said, what he said. Read that last piece again, Elder Shaphat.
Feet that be swift in running to mischief.
Feet that be swift in running to mischief. If there's something going on, this person is a part of the rumor mill with it. Like, well, listen, don't involve me in this stuff. I'm just saying, though, nah, I'm good. I'm feeling good right now. Don't involve me in none of this rumor and all this other stuff. There's more important things that are going on in the earth that we must actually prepare for. Read.
Verse 19.
Check this out.
A false witness.
A false witness
that speaketh lies.
That speaketh lies. Read.
And he that soweth discord among brethren.
Now, this one right here is above them all. A person who isn't satisfied with seeing the brotherhood in unity, who would sow discord against brothers. And guess what? I've dealt with some trying situations, even while operating in the church, where people would come to me and their advice would have been justified. Like, man, we got to get in front of this. We got to do this and do this. Man, we got to say this on this brother or this sister. And I said, listen, I'm not doing that. I'm not here to hear discord against another brother or sister who, for whatever reason they aren't here, because whatever I say today, I'm not going to be able to take it back, and what I say resonates. And one day, that brother or sister might come around. So you're not going to hear me. Now, if you got someone just straight rogue, satanic, attacking the work, then that's another thing. But someone we have operated with, we've walked with, we've actually bled with and sweated in this work with, I don't care. Even if someone go all the way off, whatever the case is, you'll never hear me stand up and berate or disrespect someone who have worked within this body publicly. Because the Most High hates that. Think about it. Because if I can do that to that person, what's to stop me from doing that to anyone here? So it's respect for one another, even if we're not seeing eye to eye right now. Read that last piece again.
And he, middle of verse 19.
Come on.
And he that soweth discord among brethren.
And he that soweth discord amongst brothers, that above all, out of all 7, that's the sin. That's the one thing out of all 7 that the Most High hate above all what have just been mentioned. Someone who would sow discord amongst brethren. And think whatever they're dealing with or whatever they're seeing is more important than keeping the brotherhood together. And when I say whatever they see and whatever they thinking, none of us are that important. None of us are above the unity that the unity of the faith, having what? Having this church, and I'm speaking of the church right now, who can stand and understand the same thing in this very end times, who need one another. If there's any issues, like I mentioned before, if there's any mentions, any issues, even Christ says, if you got a problem, you go to your brother or sister alone. And if they hear you, you've gained your brother. You've gained your sister. See, but we're living in a world with this technology that makes it so hard because everything that happens is so pronounced. There's a spotlight, a camera on everything, which makes it easier for offenses to fester and divide. And I'm going to show you real quick while we're going to need to really kick in preparation for what's to come. The siege of Jerusalem. The other day, and what led me to talk about this today, the other day, the basketball player, Hall of Famer, Isaiah Thomas. He was amongst some of his family members out there in Detroit. He's a famed, Isaiah Thomas was almost a basketball icon. He's hanging out with his family and friends and all that. Right? And the sun is going down, so, you know, a lot of people don't know it's just his people around. They're hanging out, just a bunch, just look like a regular crew hanging out, just hanging out in the inner city. A young man, couldn't have been no more than 23, 24, came out with an AK-47 amongst that crowd, pointed the AK-47 and says, y'all know what this is. And in the midst of it all, he had on a mask. And Isaiah Thomas, he said this online the other day. He lifted up and say, you Isaiah Thomas? He says, yeah, I'm Isaiah Thomas. He pulled his mask down and took his AK-47 and rolled off. If he didn't recognize who that man was, not only with that family, those people the brother was sitting down with, not only would they probably would have been robbed, at worst, someone would have died. And Isaiah Thomas seen the look in his eyes and knew just that. If he didn't recognize me, I probably wouldn't be talking to y'all right now. What drives a young man to do this within a community of his own people? And it leads me to understand, listen to what I'm saying, folks. There's a systematic siege going on that's causing financial deprivation in our communities, and it's intentional. It's the siege, but it's in a different light, but with the same outcome of 70 AD. Shapat, if you will, I'm going to show y'all something, what happened in 70 AD. Right? If you can, I need you, see right here? Antiquity of the Jews, book 6, chapter 3, right? We're going to start there, but before I start there, let me tell y'all this real quick. Right now, you have Christians, Muslims, Jewish people, all together at what they call the Wailing Wall. It's a place of worship for all religions in the Middle East, not just Jewish people. You may see some of the Orthodox Jews, or them dressing in all black with their hats on, and they're doing like this against the wall, and they'll write a wish or something in a little piece of paper, and they'll stick it in the wall. And what they've taught erroneously is that they're there well in the wall because that's the wall that's still left from the fall of Jerusalem. Let me give you a quick history lesson here. But no, it's not the wall that's still left from the fall of Jerusalem. That's a lie. So why are they at that wall? Christians, Muslims, Orthodox Jews, why are they at that wall, and what unite them together to pay homage there? Well, it's not the wall or what's left from the fall of the temple of 70 AD. When you look in history, it's nothing other than what? It's the fort of Antonia. Someone says, well, Elder, what you mean the fort of Antonia? Well, they're giving reverence to whatever god they serve at that wall, because that was the fort that protected the Roman armies when they sieged Jerusalem. The Roman armies were held behind Fort Antonia as they conspired to take down Jerusalem, which led to the suffering at Masada. So what they do there is pay homage to the God who gave them what? The fortitude and guidance to destroy our people. And they turned that particular fortress wall into a shrine. Now, there's no coincidence that the same people that are at that wall are now in our communities with another siege. Now, I'm going to tell you what was deep about this for time's sake. We were too strong of a people for the Roman Empire to just come in and take us down in 70 AD. Militarily, we were still pretty strong. Our place of worships on the Sabbath were still in place. Christianity was thriving as the new way of belief. I'm talking about the true Christianity, not that stuff we see today. We were thriving in 70 AD. So they said, so Vespasian and Titus, the Roman general Titus said, well, hold up. We cannot engage these people because why? For sympathy's sake, if we do it wrong, they'll have the moral high ground and the world will rally behind them. And if we engage them together, they can join an army to rival us because some of their people are actually in our armies too. So the men looked at him and said, so what shall we do? Let's wait them out. Let's wait them out. This is what we'll do. We'll build a trench around them. We'll build a trench around them and will not allow them to be able to come down to the banks to get water. Any resources they have, they'll need to survive on those resources. If they come down to get any resources, we'll pick them off one at a time. If their children come down, we'll grab their children. So how long are we going to do this? I'll tell you what, as long as it takes. 7 years, brothers and sisters. 7 years. No food provision, no water, no way to sustain ourselves. For 7 years, they bled us out until we were suffering. And the young men in 70 AD at that time had no recourse. The only recourse they had was to say, we must survive off of the carnage of our own people. And this is what happens if they cut us off through financial deprivation. There's an invisible wall around our inner cities like Vespasian and Titus had around Masada, where subconsciously our people understand, hey, if we're going to do anything to survive, it must be taken from the people that's amongst us. Everyone on the outside of this place is prepared for me to come out and try to get it from them. Let's read this real quick. Elder Shaphat, if you will, let's start off. We're at War of the Jews, book 6, and let's start at part 3. Let's read it.
Now of these perished by famine in the city, the number was prodigious, and the miseries they underwent were unspeakable.
It was unspeakable, the famine. They would not allow our people to go down and get water on the banks and make provisions each season and all that. The famine was unimaginable in Jerusalem. Now, it was prophesied. This was prophesied in the book of Lamentations, Deuteronomy 28. It was prophesied. I'm going to get the scriptures in a moment. And those that didn't take heed were left. Were left to feed, literally, off of their own people. That's where we are, folks. Now, a lot of our people don't know that that's what's going on. They're just in survivor mode. They don't know, but that's where we are. I need y'all to think about this. Think about you're living in an environment where you have to think of whether or not your life hangs on the balance. If you're seeking to go and check out your own family and your own people, you have to actually gird up yourself to defend your body alive to go see the people you grew up and loved. Think about that. I wish there was something where everything could stop at once. Our people would just listen and say, and listen to what the Most High is saying and say, listen, we can turn the curve. We can turn this curve and save as many people as we can if all of us come together under the Almighty and do this. We could save a lot of people. But according to what I'm seeing, it's an impossibility. It'll be someone amongst who we're talking to, who would be one of those who would do all the things the Most High hates to undermine and stop us from actually delivering ourselves. And it's a shame. So the famine was deep at that time. Come on.
For if so much as the shadow of
You got to put the mic close to you.
For if so much as the shadow of any kind of food did anywhere appear, a war was commenced presently.
If there was food, if they hear that there was food anywhere during the time of 70 AD, a war would ensue. They were fighting for crumbs. Infighting, if there was even a rumor that food was somewhere, they would fight most of the time to the death so that they can have what? Full control over any provisions. Read.
And the dearest friends fell a fighting one with another about it.
It was the dearest friends over food fighting against one another in 70 AD. Best friends. A famine, deprivation can drive one mad. Friends became bitter enemies over food. Now, what happens if you set up a society where the wicked control all the resources in our community? All the jobs are given to the other people who have no stake in this country. All the stores and all the commerce is given to other people while the people are preyed upon in the city and starve and are now at the behest of strangers. Read.
Snatching from each other the most miserable supports of life. Nor would men believe that those who were dying had no food, but the robbers would search them when they were expiring, lest anyone should have concealed food in their bosoms and counterfeited dying.
So you would have people, brothers and sisters, who were dying, and instead of helping the person live, they would shake them down to see if there's anything that's on them could be worth something. Food, finances, gold. You sitting there dying instead of help me, and now the brothers was going through their pockets, seeing if they have some bread or some beans or some food. 70 AD. Folks, that's the system they have set up. But they have done it in a more sophisticated fashion. A slow boil. That's what they have done. It doesn't matter whether or not it's Democrat or Republican. They're all in the House, Senate, and Congress voting this stuff together. But at the end of it, it's the children of Israel under a siege. And it's not just happening here. It's happening in Africa. It's happening It's happening over in the UK. It's happening any place God's people are. It's happening. And then the food that they will give you and allow you to eat is poison. Soybean oil, canola oil, soy this and soy that. All the things that cause inflammation, obesity, clogged minds, clogged arteries. So the food they do give you is counterproductive, if they're going to give you anything at all. Read.
Nay, these robbers gaped for want and ran about stumbling and staggering along like mad dogs.
Like mad dogs. These were, folks, these weren't barbarians here. These were the children of Israel who knew they were Israel in Jerusalem when this happened. But circumstances turned them barbarian. Circumstances. Read on.
And reeling against the doors of the houses like drunken men, they would also, in the great distresses they were in, rush into the very same houses 2 or 3 times in one and the same day.
Look at that. Sometimes they would go into the same houses they pillaged 2 to 3 times and say, hold up, I might have missed an area in this house that have something. Now think about you living in your house and you got some bandits coming through 2-3 times a day. You got something. So when I seen Isaiah Thomas say that, I said, yeah. When I seen that report of Chicago when they were talking about the gangster disciples and a lot of these different gangs, the men are talking amongst Chicago, not about what we're talking about. Because if you've been in the streets long enough, you know what warfare looks like. And they are all coming together and saying, well, listen, they've cut off every area of survival for our people here in Chicago. We know what this is. We know what this is. And if one of our sons and daughters get hurt or worse, raped or whatever this summer, we're turning Chicago upside down. That's all they need. That's all the powers that be need to respond. That's what they want. Starve them out, push them in the corner with no recourse so that we can come with the solution. So that we can engage them the way we want it to anyway. And this is happening in Philadelphia. It's happening in Camden. It's happening all over the place. And it's a slow drip to the point where our people know something is going on, but really can't put their finger on it. Really can't put their finger on it. I was speaking to the pastor in Philadelphia the other day, Louis Nash, a friend of mine growing up. And I'm talking with him like, Lou, you can't see what this is? He's telling me about 5 Asian guys who came together and became tycoons like the Rothschilds in the Philadelphia area, and he spoke to one of them, and he's getting some tips on what to do. I'm like, Lou, don't you think if they wanted to, that it could have been 5 men like you? The guy you talking to is your replacement. What are you talking about? They supposed to be in Chinatown. What are they doing on Girard Avenue? Giving you some insight when really it was you and others voting for them to be black and brown people to get full control over the purse strings. They don't have no feel-good rag to riches story. They're using the money that belonged to you to buy up these properties. And he looked, said, I'm like, is it clicking now? And he said, well, anyway. Okay. I'm like, that's what a siege looks like. How can you sit and take advice from your replacement? Think about this. I'm like, that guy can't give you no advice. I'm like, if any advice, did he tell you, is he going to give you a loan? To sustain? To help our people? And this is where we are. Read on.
Moreover, their hunger was so intolerable that it obliged them to chew everything.
It says our hunger was so intolerable that our people, even children, were chewing everything. 70 AD. Read.
While they gathered such things as the most sordid animals would not touch, and endured to eat them, nor did they at length abstain from girdles and shoes and the very leather which belonged to their shields.
They was chewing their shield for nourishment. The sheath that hold their shield, the leather, belt, shoes, whatever they can get their teeth on. Go up here to the 4th chapter and go to this Sister Mary.
There was a certain woman that dwelt beyond Jordan. Her name was Mary.
Her name was Mary.
Her father was Eleazar of the village Bethuzab, which signifies the house of hyssop.
Come on.
She was eminent for her family and her wealth, and had fled away to Jerusalem with the rest of the multitude.
Come on.
And was with them besieged therein at this time. The other effects of this woman had been already seized upon, such, I mean, as she had brought with her out of Perea, and removed to the city. What she had treasured up besides, as also what food she had contrived to save, had been also carried off by rapacious guards, who came every day running into her house for that purpose.
So guards came into her house and began to take all of the food that she saved. Guards. Now, these weren't regular guards. Finish reading.
This put the woman into a very great passion, and by the frequent reproaches and imprecations she cast at these rapacious villains, she had provoked them to anger against her.
Come on.
But none of them, either out of the indignation she had raised against herself, or out of the commiseration of her case, would take away her life.
Come on.
And if she found any food, she perceived her labors were for others, and not for herself. And it was now become impossible for her anyway to find any more food.
Come on.
While the famine perceived,
70 AD.
While the famine pierced through her very bowels and marrow, when also her passion was fired to a degree beyond the famine itself, nor did she consult with anything but with her passion and the necessity she was in.
Come on.
She then attempted a most unnatural thing.
She attempted an unnatural thing. What was this?
And snatching up her son,
She snatched up her son,
who was a child suckling at her breast, she said, "O thou miserable infant, for whom shall I preserve thee in this war.
How can I preserve you in this war? Think about this. A baby sucking on her breast, brothers come in who's supposed to be guarding her and them, stealing everything from her to a point where the whole house was famished. And she says, oh, baby, what can I do with you? You're suffering through this. Last week, 2 weeks ago, a sister broadcast on a live and showed herself dropping off all of her children. I can't do this. It's hard out here. It's hard out here. Just dropped off all of her children. See, they're doing it in a way where we can accept what the siege is, because it's not as barbaric as what you read in history, but it's really the same outcome. But listen to this. Read.
For whom shall I preserve thee in this war, this famine, and this sedition?
Come on.
As to the war with the Romans, if they preserve our lives, we must be slaves.
If the Romans take us, we're going into captivity, as she said. Read.
This famine also will destroy us.
And if I stay here, the famine will kill us. Come on.
Even before that slavery comes upon us, yet are these seditious rogues more terrible than both the other.
And she's saying the guys that are coming in terrorizing me, taking my food, is worse than both of these options. Own people. Read.
Come on, be thou my food.
Be thou my food. Now, this is so deep when it comes to descriptive in the book of Josephus. I'll just quantify it for you. Her baby ended up dying. When they came in the next day to get the food, smelling something, it was only half of the baby left. She cooked it. And they took the other half. And this is why Christ says, woe to them that give suck in that day. That's what's going on now, but instead of it being so heinous as I'm describing, people are choosing to delete their babies. And there's legislation on the books that would allow them to delete their babies even months after they're already birthed. Because they know that things are going to get so tough that that is going to actually be a viable option. And why am I going into this today on this great, sunny, beautiful day? This is why I'm going into it. When things was cut off and people didn't understand whether or not the earth would open up, when the earth had no uncertainty, when people thought that, oh, this is it, this thing gonna be closed down forever. Babylon is about to go down. The shops are closed. You can drive down the street, it's like a ghost town. Even Times Square was empty. When it was like that, there was standing room in this place only. And what's coming in the future, it's probably going to be a few years before it hit. It's going to be way worse than that. Way worse than that. I'm going to tell you. And I don't know. Listen, I'm not blaming someone for enjoying a beautiful day. But something is to be said to those who are here to listen to the word of God and stay rooted in a time such as this when the siege is upon us. It's here. It's here. But people are just disappearing before us. They're doing it in a more sophisticated way. Oh, you sick? You go into inpatient, and then eventually you're gone. So it's still the same siege. The quality of life for the poor is tough. A tough quality of life. No support out there. I thank the Most High that we have each other. But the world, the inner cities, aren't operating like this. So now you got the young men turning on anyone who they can siphon life, finances, or food from. And then the enemy is coming over. Hospitals, pharmacy. Let me tell you, that's the key machine that can get us out of the way without us recognizing that we're under siege. You'll look up, it's less of us and more of everyone else, but the same number in population. That's what the siege looked like. But when they engage our people once and for all, when one of these guys do something to our people in the inner cities, it's going to really jump off here. And they're going to use that as a cloud of smoke to come against those who they were seeking the whole time. It's not going to be about the immigrants. It's going to be about those who are still left, who were smart enough to get through the last crisis. I spoke to, on Patreon yesterday, a sister called in, and I thought about it. She says, Elder, I was a nurse. They wanted me to take the stuff, and I didn't take it, so I end up losing my job. But I end up getting a seamstress job. I end up getting a seamstress job making military clothing and sewing on stuff for the military. I'm like, interesting. She says, Elder, you got to see these people. What people? Man, there's Asians over 6-something feet tall. Every name I'm sewing for their uniforms are foreign names, whether it be a Lebanese name or an Asian name, or rarely do I get a Brown or a Smith anymore. All of the names are foreign names for the uniforms. So what's going to happen? When our people understand that we're under a siege and begin to react for the sake of surviving, they're going to use that as a pretext to have the foreigners come in with American uniforms. And it's not going to happen all at once. It's going to be, initially, it's going to be a thing where it's just to keep order. And I'm going to tell you all this. When the Bible says, when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, flee into the wilderness. I'm going to tell you this right now. When it happened during the time of so-called George Floyd and all this other stuff, in major key cities, they had the National Guard out protecting stores just to get us used to the optics of what's really unconstitutional. Under posse comitatus, you're not supposed to have a standing army within the cities. So they already conditioned the people to actually receive or understand or accept what was once considered treason. Treasonous laws would have it where if you march your army into the city. So when it happened, it's not going to be bloodshed and all that initially. It's going to be, I'm so glad they're here to calm things down and bring some order. But this is when you're going to recognize it's 70 AD again. When after all of the melee ends, they're still there. See, one thing about the George Floyd and all this stuff, after the election, after they was able to finesse and do what they needed to do to get, because they needed these 4 years to totally put Jacob, our people, in financial deprivation. They needed every last bit of those 4 years. So even during George Floyd and all that, folks, all that was a distraction. It was about the election. I'm going to tell you that right now. So look for it to be another melee created on the other side now. And this is why I'm looking at what's going on with Trump, where now the Republicans are incinerated like we were incinerated as a people under George Floyd. This is when you're going to know the siege is here, because initially, listen to me clearly. I'm going to break it down historically for you. Why did we allow armies to frequent Jerusalem? Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Nero, I mentioned this before. Nero, 4 years beforehand, had some Roman army guys dress up like they were us. And they started burning the markets in different different parts of Rome. Blamed it on the black Christians, the Israelites. And through that, they said, well, listen, there won't be a war, but you're going to have to allow us to station within Jerusalem to make sure that we can quell any negative dissent against Romans, which would make the Roman citizens feel safe. And guess what? Initially, there was no war. They were in Jerusalem, brothers and sisters, 4 years. And our people got used to just seeing them. If there was some issues, some domestic issues, something going on, they would intervene. Like, no, you can't do that. They were like police. They weren't police at that time. These were the Roman armies operating as the police in our communities. That's where they get the whole notion of police from, right there. And we got used to being what? We got used to actually seeing military amongst our people to a degree where it was okay. We became lax and stopped policing our own, and the Romans became law enforcement. 4 years straight. Only for Vespasian and Titus later, the next regime, 4 years later, to now give an order for these same officers or same soldiers we got used to provoke violence against Jerusalem. And at that point, the siege ensued. So it didn't happen overnight. They were working in the community and all of that, but then our people got adjusted to believing that, okay, this is normal. Strangers policing us. Folks, that's how it's going to happen. And I'm saying that so that when it go down, and it will go down, if not this year, very soon. When you see the military in your communities, do not immediately panic. I'm talking to you, and I came to the church to talk to you. Oh my God, 70 AD. No, don't panic. Do not panic. They're only there to quell the initial fire that they have stoked by starving our people out. But once there's order, they're going to be giving out water and all of that in our communities. So that our people could what? Can begin to trust, to know that they're not here for warfare. They're here as help. That's how it was in 70 AD. And when it happens, the only thing you got to do is finish going to your jobs, doing what you're doing, and then come to the Sabbath. And this is where we're going to be having our discussions on Sabbath. We're in it. This is what's going on. So this is how we move. This is how we move in Christ. The Most High have brought us here for this very same moment, to overcome and to get through the siege, like those who followed Christ back then made it through. And what you're doing in your preparations when it comes to your physical health, getting your physical health back to where it needs to be, learning how to farm, learning how to grow food, teaching your children how to operate with animals and all these things, you're going to understand why we were implementing these particular protocols, or at least as recreation, so we can take up nation survival scenarios, so that we can understand how to come together and be an asset to one another. That's when everything becomes real, where the Bible becomes real, because we must live the Bible to make it through Jacob's trouble. You are not to fear. You are not to panic. You are not to fear. You are not to panic. Why? We've read this script before. We've read it before. And hence the reason, brothers and sisters, this is why I take time to do things and set up scenarios in which we can celebrate one another, understand one another, appreciate one another, like we will do next week. In the midst of this whole thing crumbling, the nation stands, and the church and the brotherhood in all white will show the world what's read in the book of Revelations, when they're all white holding palms in their hand. And this is why I celebrate that in the midst of all this trouble. Because we're going to need each other. And the resources that we will accumulate in the time of plenteous will be parlayed over into families who's going to need it. That's what it's about, surviving it. It's one thing about preaching and this, that, and the other, but the Bible has it all. It has preaching. It has admonishment. It has wisdom. It has counsel. And it also it's a survivor book. It's a book you use to survive with. And I'm going to be talking about that tomorrow in the academy. I need you to get this real quick for me. If you will, Leviticus 26. Hold on. Let me grab it here. And go down to the 29th, I think it's the 29th verse, to show you what we experienced in Masada was prophesied out of the Old Testament, to show that we are the children of God. We're the children of Israel. And we're experiencing the same things again. And our brothers and sisters, I'm going to tell you, out there, They're not going to make it if they don't come back under God. Only the Most High can save us through what we're about to face. Let's start at the 28th verse.
Leviticus chapter 26 and verse 28.
Yes.
Then I will walk contrary unto you also in fury.
So God said, Ahiah said, if you go against me, you break my law, then I will walk contrary to you in fury. Read.
And I, even I, will chastise you 7 times for your sins.
So what's going on here? A chastisement for the sins against God, for breaking this Bible, the law, statutes, and commandments. He said, you know what? I'll chastise you 7 times. And no matter how much or how many times we tell our people about this, they refuse to listen. We told everyone. I know your family members. I know you told your family members out there during that time when it all happened. Do not listen to what they're telling you to do. And they fear government and what can happen in this world when it comes to sicknesses and all that. They fear that more than God. They feared what they were hearing on the airways more than God himself. And it's going to happen again. Then I will walk contrary unto you also in fury, and I will chastise you 7 times for your sins. Read the 29th verse.
And ye shall eat the flesh of your sons.
You shall eat the flesh of your sons. Read.
And the flesh of your daughters.
And the flesh of your daughters. Read.
Shall you eat.
That happened in 70 AD. And there was videos out there a long time ago, right before the so-called, well, during the pandemic, showing these people from Planned Parenthood talking about what they use some of the, I would say, deleted children for when it comes to food products. Putting that in food products. Another one. Go down to the 53rd verse. As a matter of fact, let's get, hold on. Let's get Lamentations. Lamentations here. I wrote it down here. 1 second. Let me get it here so they can see it out there. Lamentations, the Lamentations of Jeremiah. Hold on. And let's go to the 20th verse. Lamentations 2 and 20. Right? Let's read that.
Lamentations chapter 2 and verse 20.
Read.
Behold, O Most High, and consider to whom thou hast done this. Shall the woman eat their fruit?
It says, shall the woman eat their fruit?
And children of a span long?
Read.
Shall the priest and the prophet be slain in the sanctuary of the Most High?
Shall the priest and the prophet be slain in the sanctuary of the Most High? Where did this happen at? It happened when they sacked Jerusalem in 70 AD. And I'm going to tell you, folks, they weren't done. They weren't done at 70 AD. We got away. A lot of us got away. We fled into Africa in different parts. Eventually, we were taken down by Ishmael and Esau. Under their religions and under those captivities, we built their constructs and their power. And now the Most High has arisen, has awakened, a better word, the children of God again. So now they are circling the wagons like they did in 70 AD and saying, you know what? We need to finish what we started because the children of Israel understands now. They know. They know now. And this is what we're seeing playing out politically in the world right now. How they put stamps of third world and diseases on our people in Africa. All of that so that they can do what? Stunt our upward mobility to make it where our people cannot operate equally on an equally footing with first world countries, even though they're walking on diamonds, they're walking on minerals and resources. But they have intentionally deprived them. Why? Because Africa will be the final siege. They've already done things to try to restrict people from being able to travel there without jumping over hurdles. And it's not just because they don't want you there. It's because they want the people in Africa to stand still while the Chinese and all that is over there, who are now the same army we read in 70 AD. It's to destroy the villages inward and to come against the priests and the leaders over Africa. So people are going to ask, well, if they're going to do this in Africa too, how will we escape? Where will we go? Where will we be? Christ says when you're persecuted in one city, flee into another. Wherever the Most High had us establish churches, are refuge. Where two or more gathered, he's in the midst. He had us go out first to establish that so there would be refuge. So there were not going to be no one permanent place you can stay. The Bible says be like pilgrims in that day. Be ready to, okay, the gig is up here. Let's go over here. We're going to have Sabbath. We're going to eat. And we're going to enjoy the saints of the Almighty. And the Most High is going to carry us just like that from one station to the next until we're all in the wilderness. And it's not my word. It's in the Bible. Anybody sitting in one place will be a sitting duck. And how do I know this works? Well, this is why the disciples and others under the church, a little ring in here. This is why when Christ told the disciples, when you shall see the desolation written of in Daniel, flee into the mountains. Well, how would they know where to go? Well, when you read Acts, the 2nd chapter, a lot of those areas were churches that were set up in parts of Africa. So we weren't just running for our lives. We were going to have church. But we got out before the final siege. It wasn't as if they seen the armies there and say, oh, let's run now. No. People filtered out normal as they traveled. They traveled and just didn't come back. Are you follow me? So it's not like you telling people, oh man, no, you know, he's going on vacation. Where you going? Oh, you don't worry about it. I'll reach out to you. You don't got to be rapping, oh Lord, the world is coming to an end, the fire coming down, and Lord, you better get out. You going to come with me? Let me tell you, anybody you got to ask to come with you, you don't want with you. It'll be just like a regular old trip, and guess what? They were like, man, he been out 2 weeks, 2 months. Oh, no, man, the sun is great here. Don't worry about it, you know. I mean, FaceTime me. It's good. But that's how it's going to be. It's not going to be no mass exodus like we seen coming out of Egypt. It's going to be like it was in 70 AD, where our people knew to filter out and knew where to stay when they seen the armies in mass numbers. They didn't, it was like, yeah, it was like the army would open up and let you through the city gates and all that. They were there. Like, yeah, all right, I'm traveling. Yeah, I'm out of here. Okay? But you didn't come back. That's how it's going to be. And just let me tell you, in operating without any level of order and or organization is a death wish. All these people talking about, well, the Most High is going to guide me and I'm in the Bible and this, that, and the other, and I know what to do. Guess what? That's cool. But the Most High, through Christ, had a church. And it was Christ who told the disciples how this thing is going to go. And it must be organized. It must be in the spirit of Christ. Genuine people and care for one another who bonded a relationship through time so we'll know who to trust. Last thing, and then after this, we can do communion. I guess you can teach this week after next. Oh, I'll teach it anyway. I need you to read this real quick. Let's go to Deuteronomy 10. 10 and 12. So like I said, I had a meeting with the leadership a couple of weeks ago, and I said, well, listen. I said it just like this. I said, listen. If you know that you're a little bit on the girth side, if you know you got some weight on you, get a personal trainer and get to a gym. And I said, if you're suffering with finances, the church will help you. And that's what I told the leaders. The church will help you get your health together. Because I'm going to tell you, in 70 AD, when it was time to do what you had to do, everything had to be straight. So I know how hard it is to say, well, okay, I've always been this way or whatever the case is. Hey, this is not shaming nobody. You know, and I say it to the deacons and elders and all that. You know in your conscience the Most High have been messing with you and telling you, listen, it's time for you to get your health together. Health is life. This is not about shaming anybody. It's about being prepared the best you can be prepared. And then at the end of it, you're going to feel good about that work. The perseverance it took for you to get your body together, you're going to find out that that operation with your body gave you more clarity. You're going to find out that it wasn't just your arteries and all this. You're going to realize that when you clean it all up and you get nice and fit, that your mind will clear up. They have targeted our people with bad foods and all that. It wasn't like when we were growing up, where the majority of the recreation was exercise. We went into a whole era where there was not much sit-down jobs. And I'm saying right now, hey, it's time to get stationary. Get your health together. Okay, you don't have to become, you don't have to become a bodybuilder or anything, but start working and you'll see the results. That's the physical side of things. You don't got to pray before everyone, but I make sure 3 times a day I go into a bathroom. Either in the morning I do it, in the middle of the day I do it, and at night I do it. And pray to the Almighty, even if it's the Lord's Prayer. And ask the Most High to deliver us from these troublous times. They're not upon us, brothers and sisters. Those times are here. They've just perfected the way to get rid of the bodies to a degree where we can't see it. It's a cleaned up way they've done this, a sophisticated way of laying our people down without any of us understanding what's really going on. So they had to do it that way first to get us sick and all that. Get our bodies together. Do as much as we can. Do as much as we can to prepare our bodies to be without any medication. We must prepare our bodies to operate without medication. Because they're not going to be a CVS or a Rite Aid or a pharmacy you can go to when this stuff breaks down. So it's time for us to get it together. Read Deuteronomy 10 and 12, and let's keep it there. Read it.
And now, Israel,
And now, Israel,
doth the Most High thy power require of thee,
this is what the Most High require of thee.
but to fear the Most High thy power,
We are to fear him. And let me emphasize that. We are to fear God and God alone. His name is Ahiah. It's the fear in this life that leads us into subjection under the lesser God. They use fear, like it says in Hebrews, to put you into subjection. That's why on the news and all that, you always hear fearful things. I'm not telling you any of this. I'm not prophesying or talking to you today so that you can fear what's before us. I'm dropping it to let you know we're in it. But the God who has awakened us told us of these times and will get us through. So I'm not teaching this so you can fear. When you have people, oh Lord, you better run. I got a safe place. And listen, nah, these are, twisted minds. Okay? I'm not dropping all of this so you can fear. It's so that you can understand the world we're in and be aware and be able to navigate through this and help as many as we can through it. That's why I'm telling you these things. To fear the Most High and him only. Come on. To walk in his ways.
to walk in all his ways,
Read.
and to love him,
And to love him. And to love him. Read.
and to serve the Most High
And
thy
to
power,
serve the Most High thy power.
with all thy heart and with all thy soul,
Come on.
to keep the commandments of the Most High
To keep his commandments.
and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good. Behold, the heaven and the heaven of heavens is the Most High's thy power.
It says the heaven and the heavens of heavens belongs to him. So there's nothing the Most High can't get us through. Nothing. Doesn't matter what the armies do and what they're thinking and conspiring against us if we're down with this particular God. Because they're going to see a greater work than Pharaoh, than what Pharaoh witnessed when the Most High delivered us. They will see a greater work in our deliverance. Come on.
The earth also with all that therein is. Only the Most High had a delight in thy fathers to love them.
He had a delight in our fathers to love them. You know why? Because they were faithful. They weren't fearful. They knew the true God of gods. And I'm going to go into that tomorrow in the academy, making it through Jacob's trouble. What we lost as a people is not just courage, but faith. We lost faith. Just imagine some people trying to walk you into an oven. When you look at the three brothers during the time of Daniel, the three saints during the time of Daniel. Think about that. Somebody trying to walk you into the oven, and here it is when you read the story, and I'm going to go into that sometime. The guys who's opened it up to burn them up, they got killed by the fire opening the fire chamber, the oven. And imagine you sitting there, and three of y'all got to go into the oven. because you refuse to bow to Baal or one of these satanic Persian gods. And what happened? They walked right up into there. No one screaming, nothing. And the king was like, man, what's going on? Do you see them? They're like, yeah. I see the shadow of them through the fire. And how many went in there? 3? There's someone else in there with them. There's 4 of them. That was Christ. In the oven, while the whole thing was on fire, they were chilling like it was air conditioned up in there. Our people not only lost our courage, we lost our faith. It doesn't matter how many bombs they drop and what they do. If you got the faith of the Almighty, you'll understand that no weapon formed against Jacob will ever prosper. We just have to be on the right side with that God. Only the Lord had a delight in thy fathers to love them and chose their seed after them. Even you, what?
Above all people.
Above all people. Not only should you be able to, not only should you read this, you must believe this. That the Most High isn't just some words on a page. It tells us right here that he chose us above all people. And if you are above all people, take your position. That's all he's asking. Don't fear what they're going to do, because fear leads you into the siege. And they have to use fear because why? If they were to engage us, they would lose. The same as it was with Vespasian and Titus. So they must use fear tactics and psychology to get us to delete ourselves. Self-destruct. But they have to use the fear tactic to do so. We're ending it here. Read.
Verse 16. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart.
And that's the circumcision that matters. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your mind. Read.
And be no more stiff-necked.
And be no more hard-headed. Hence the reason why I went into the 7 things the Most High hates. Even if we follow those principles, the 7 things that the Most High just hate and stayed away from them, 9 times out of 10, we're in the right spot. Because at least we're not fragmenting relationships. At least we're not fragmenting relationships. 17.
For the Most High your power is the God of gods.
He's the God of gods.
And Lord of lords.
Lord of lords. Ahia is his name. His name isn't Jehovah. His name isn't Yahweh. His name isn't Yehoshua. Yahuwah. His name is Ahia. That's his name. The Lord of lords.
A great power.
A great God.
A mighty and a terrible.
He's mighty, and guess what? He is terrible. When you fall on the wrong side of him. And you would rather fear him than what we're seeing coming down the pipeline prophetically. We're going to warn as many people as we can amongst our people, but the majority of our people are going to fall in the siege. Not because any of us would like them to. They're going to choose it. They're going to choose following these traps, and they will die in those traps. And it says, and regardeth the persons, what?
Which regardeth not persons.
The Most High regardeth not persons. Read.
Nor taketh reward.
Nor can you bribe the Most High. The most you can do is serve him. And when one asks, well, what is that serving him? Well, he have raised us from the womb to be a servant. Well, what exactly is that? Well, what do you want to contribute? And whatever that is in your mind is your part. So everyone has a place. Everyone has a part in the ministry. Everyone has an opportunity to contribute something. That's your service. The service isn't just getting together and reading the Bible, because we love that. But then when you ask, hold up, I can be doing more. And not wait for someone else to tell you what the Most High have already put in your heart to finish for him. Y'all understand that? Blessed new month.
Let's give all praise and honor to the Most High God. Ahia is his name, and his son's name is Yeshua, the Anointed, for that prophetic, timely lesson. Brothers and sisters, we're at the time where we're going to take our communion. I pray everybody has it. I've seen them give it out. If anybody doesn't have it, just raise your hand. Everybody should have it. Praise the Most High. So we're going to go into the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 11. Right? Starting at verse 23. For I received of the Lord that which also I deliver unto you, that the Lord Yeshua, the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, take, eat. This is my body, which is broken for you. Do this in remembrance of me. The water, elder. In the name of Ahia, Ba'ashem Yeshaya, this blessed bread, we take, eat, and ask the Lord to bless us. In the name of Yeshaya, Thawadatham Yad Aman, take, eat. Verse 25. And after the same manner also he took the cup. And when he had supped, saying, this is the cup, this cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as oft as ye drink it in remembrance of me. Take, drink, brothers and sisters, in the name of Ahia, Ba'ashem Yeshaya, Warawak. Take, drink. Wow. Let's give the Most High a hearty praise for his son Yeshua, the Anointed. And we're going to take this spirit and this praise all the way down to Augusta. Let's give the Most High some praise.
I heard y'all got a barbecue going on today, huh? Man, listen, I already told you about. I'm trying to slim up. Boy, y'all don't help me out, do you? Lord have mercy. Okay, who got those collard greens? Who got some greens around here? Any greens? Got salad. Man, somebody put foot in those greens the last time. I'm like, I thought I was in North Kakalaki. But it's all good. I don't want to put any guilt on anyone, when it comes to grubbing, but just, discipline the plate a little bit. It don't got it can be one leg instead of two. All right? Shalom. See y'all tomorrow.
All praises. At this time, brothers and sisters, the brothers are in place, right? My brother Brandon, the drummer's in place. Brothers and sisters, this is a time where we can all participate, right? You can move them back. Just stand right there in the front of the aisle. There you go. Right in front of the camera. So we're going to take a weekly collection, brothers and sisters. We greatly appreciate you for everything you do. Brothers and sisters, the Most High loves a cheerful giver. Let us stand in reference to our offering. And let's give the Most High some praise as we give this blessed offering. You're now in the hands of the financial committee and Brother Brandon. Yes.